Top 10 Tuesdays. It's one of my favorite segments of the week. And today, for Top 10 Tuesday, I'm doing buzzwords / phrases that get fans excited about a player or a team. Now, we have to start with just the classic one that we love to talk about here on Indy Sports Ticket, here on 1430, cap space. Okay, everyone that listens to this station, whether it's my show or it's Dan's show, everyone that listens to this station knows that there are plenty of Colts fans out there that fall for the saying, that love to tweet it out, that love to proclaim it to the heavens, quote, "We have cap space." People love it. They love being able to say that. But have you ever noticed that good teams never say this? No good team has ever been like, "Hey, guys, good news. We have cap space." They're like, no. "Hey, guys, good news. We have good players." Okay, like the Chiefs have never won a Super Bowl and been like, "Good news, boys. We have cap space next season." No one's ever said that. Okay, like good teams don't say that. When the Chiefs win, they're like, "Hey, guys, good news. We have Patrick Mahomes." Okay. So cap space, it's this, it's just this thing that people like to throw out there to make them feel better. Okay. No good team has ever been excited about having cap space. Okay. Like when the Colts were good in the days of Peyton Manning, no one ever went into the offseason and was like, "Hey, guys, guess what? We have Peyton Manning, but I've got better news for you. We also have cap space." It's never been said, never will be said, because good teams don't care about that. They care about the fact that they have good players. The only teams that talk about cap space are the bad ones. And they're bad because they don't have enough good players to spend that cap space on. Okay, I promise you, if the Colts had 6 players worthy of being all-pro selections, then the Colts would not have any cap space. They wouldn't have any. Okay, this idea that cap space is a good thing is just something sold to the fans of bad teams. That's all it is, right? It's just like, hey, here's a little bit of hope. You've got some cap space. Maybe you'll spend money in the offseason. You probably won't because you're bad. But, here's just like a little sliver of hope for you to hold on to going forward. So that is at the top of our list, cap space. That is at the top of our top 10 Tuesday list for buzzwords that gets players or that gets fans excited about players or a team. The next word on our list, potential. People love this word. Potential is a word that gets fans and, quite frankly, teams excited about young players. In basketball, you hear things like, "Hey, he's 6'7". He's got a 7-foot wingspan and a 40-inch standing vertical." Right? Dude's got tons of potential, an absolute freak athlete on the court. But he's not very good yet. But he has all the potential in the world. If you could just get him with the right coach in the right system, and if you can just teach him how to dribble, pass, and shoot, then he'll be great because he's got all the potential. Okay? Saying a player has potential is just a nice way of saying this guy is freakishly athletic, but he's not very good yet. Okay? Like that is the thing. Okay? Potential is just a nice way of saying this kid's not very good yet, but he's a great athlete. That's what people said about Anthony Richardson when he came out of Florida. This guy is 6'4". He's like 250 pounds. He runs like a 4.4 40. Dude's blazing fast. Has just a rocket launcher attached to his shoulder. I mean, just slings the ball all over the field, right? Filled with potential. But if he can find a way to stay healthy, which he hasn't done, if he can figure out how to read defenses, which we don't really know if he can do because he hasn't stayed healthy, and if he can throw the ball on time and on target, then he'll be great. Fun fact, if you have a quarterback that is capable of throwing the ball on time and on target, then they're probably going to be good, okay? Whether they have a big arm or not. So, oh, man. Yeah, that gets people going. This player has potential. He might be great. He might not develop. He might end up being terrible. He might end up being a bust. But hey, you guys have the coaches to make him better. Potential, gets people excited. Next is insert veteran name here. Okay, fans get so excited when their team signs an older player that isn't quite who they were. Okay. Philadelphia 76er fans are pumped, excited, ecstatic over the fact that they just signed Paul George, even though he's 34 years old and he's never won anything in the NBA. And they're like, oh my gosh, we got Paul George, guys. Watch out. Let's just forget the fact that he's aging and that he's past his prime. Let's forget that he hasn't been to a conference finals since he left Indiana. But hey, we got Paul George. Spurs fans went nuts, more than likely, when they signed Chris Paul. They went to YouTube, they typed in Chris Paul highlights, and stuff from like 2007 showed up, and they're like, oh man, this guy's so good. Let's just ignore the fact that was 17 years ago, and he's going to turn 40 years old this year. They're like, oh man, we got Chris Paul. Watch out now. Wemby's going to go up a level because of it, even though Chris Paul's just, probably like a really good backup point guard at this point. Like still a good player. Like Paul George is obviously still a good player, but there's this excitement about signing players that aren't exactly who they were. NFL teams are the exact same way. This doesn't just happen in the NBA. I bet Jets fans rejoiced when they signed Tyron Smith, excuse me, right? He played offensive tackle for the Cowboys for forever, right? He's 33 years old now, which is old by NFL offensive tackle standards. And he's like never stayed healthy. He hasn't been healthy these past several years. But hey, Jets fans, you guys got your offensive tackle. He's so good that the Jets were like, we'll give you a 1-year deal. Fans of football teams still get excited when their team signs Julio Jones, even though he's like 80 years old at this point and he's played for like 4 different teams in the last 3 years. Look, guys, if this, veteran player that you're signing was as good as they used to be, then their former teams wouldn't have let them go. Okay. It wouldn't have happened. Right. So insert veteran name here is third on our top 10 Tuesday list for buzzwords/phrases that get fans excited about a player or a team. Next is he's on pace, then ... He's on pace is the best way to get people to tune into any sporting event. Okay. I saw a tweet on Sunday that said that Gunnar Henderson, shortstop for the Baltimore Orioles, he's 23 years old. Saw a tweet on Sunday that said Gunnar Henderson was on pace for the best season by a shortstop ever. I didn't fact check. I didn't fact check. I didn't go look at like Baseball Reference to see like what he was referencing. I didn't read any articles. I was just like, oh, he's on pace. Let me sit down and watch the Orioles play tonight on Sunday Night Baseball. And every time Gunnar Henderson came up to the plate, I was like excited. I was like, let's see if, I don't know what he's on pace to do. I don't know why he's on pace to have the best single season from a shortstop ever. But hey, like I'm going to tune in. And like when he comes up to the plate, I'm going to kind of like sit up a little bit and I'm really going to pay attention. And yeah, he went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. A nice little golden sombrero for the kid. But it didn't matter though, because the whole he's on pace thing got me to tune in. And it's like this in every single sport. Okay, as soon as people hear about someone being on pace in anything, they tune in. Hey guys, Peyton Manning is on pace to set the single season touchdown passing record. Oh, I got to watch the Colts every week now. Hey guys, Anthony Richardson is on pace to play more games than he played last year. That didn't mean much, but still, that's like an exciting thing of like, oh, like we're going to get to see Anthony Richardson play this year. Hey guys, Tyreek Hill, he's on pace to break Calvin Johnson's single season receiving yards record. That gets me to a television. Okay, like the last 4 weeks of the season, you're sitting there and you're like counting yards and you're trying to figure out like, is he going to do it? How many more yards does he need? What does he need to average? And all those things, right? Or, so-and-so is on pace after the first quarter to score 80 points. It's like a Tuesday night. What else are you going to do? So you sit down and you watch it. Hearing so-and-so is on pace to do whatever gets people excited. Anthony Richardson is on pace from his injury to be back before the start of the season. That's exciting. It's like, okay, cool. We're going to have our starting quarterback available to us week 1. We're going to have, our guy available during, training camp, right? He's on pace, gets people excited. It does. First guy in, last guy out. I don't know why, but I feel like this phrase gets people excited about a player. It gets people juiced up. Okay, it gives off this idea that he's just like this hardworking player, and like that's great. Hard work's important. Like Seriously, like I've worked really hard at this, and when I played baseball, I worked really hard at that. Hard work, very important. But here's the thing: every professional athlete works hard. Every single one. They would not be professional athletes if they did not work hard. It's like, great, this player shows up 15 minutes earlier than his teammates and he stays 15 minutes later. Like, in the long run, it doesn't really make that big of a difference. Okay, this is just another buzz phrase used to make us like the player more. It's a great PR phrase, right? It's a nice little brand booster. Okay, like seriously, it is. First guy in, last guy out. It makes us like a player more. It's a great buzz phrase for, positive PR. Right, I promise you, if somebody wrote an article about Anthony Richardson or Adonai Mitchell or Leatu Latu, one of these new rookies, they're like, oh man, he's the first guy here every day, and he's the last one to leave. This dude just eats, breathes, and sleeps football. Everyone would immediately be like, I would fall for it. I'd be like, I love this dude. Like, if he's working hard, I like him. Right, first guy in, last guy out is always a hit. Next here on the Top 10 Tuesday list of buzzwords / phrases that get fans excited about a player or team. Must-win game. This gets people excited about games. This gets people to tune in. There's there's a narrative attached to it, and because of that, these media companies try to attach it to everything. Okay, I will tune in to ESPN pregame shows, and it'll be like game one of an NBA series or game one of an NHL series, game one. So it's 0-0. And they'll ask the question of like, is this a must-win game for the home team or whatever? And the answer is no, because it's game one. Okay. They just want to pose that question so that they can draw more eyes. Okay. It is a buzz phrase that gets people to tune into games. It's a buzz phrase that gets people excited about these games, right? Must-win game. It gets thrown out all the time. It's like, hey, your team's down 2-1. Is this a must-win game? It's like, no, because if we lose and we go down 3-1, like, we still have to lose again. So I would say no. Like, it's not really a must-win game until the opponent has 3 wins. Like, that's kind of how must-win works. It's a math question, right? So must-win game. It's another buzz phrase that gets people excited about a game. Next on the list, anything about a blueprint. Let me explain this one. One of my favorite things is when the prominent, dominant team in whatever league, okay, for example, the Chiefs. One of my favorite things is when the Chiefs will beat someone in a playoff game, but they'll only win by like 3. And the next day, the narrative is that whoever they beat gave the other teams the blueprint, okay? And then the Chiefs go out and they crush whoever they play next. And it's like, oh, that was the blueprint? Your quarterback threw for 450 yards. That's the blueprint. Yeah, good luck doing that again. Okay, or if the Chiefs lose, the team that apparently provided the blueprint will brag like their team won. It's really funny. It's like I don't know what it is, but when a losing team apparently provides a blueprint and they lose, they're immensely proud of it. They're like, "Hey guys, we didn't lose, but you guys are welcome. We gave you guys the blueprint on how to win." My question is, if you have the blueprint, then why didn't you win? Like, the whole blueprint thing is just another buzz phrase that gives fans something to be happy about after their favorite team lost to a team that's better than them. Okay, that's what the whole blueprint thing is. People get so excited about it. I don't know why. Like, your team lost. I feel like you shouldn't be very happy about that. But hey, I digress. Whatever you want to be happy about, man. Next here on this Top 10 Tuesday list of buzzwords / phrases that gets fans excited about a player or team. This player has all the tools. The tools conversation is always interesting. Okay, like, the tools thing is a little bit different from potential. I think potential is very like athletic based, where tools is a little more mental. Okay, so like, for example, like this new hot baseball prospect gets called up. One of the first things you hear is, oh, this is a 4-tool guy out of 5. He's a 4-tool guy. He can run. He can hit for power. He plays defense at a high level, and he's got just an awesome arm. He's throwing like 105 off of a crow hop from left field or whatever. You're like, oh, this guy's a 4-tool guy. Let's go. Like, I'm excited, right? Like, I mean, he should be good. And then you sit back and it's like 200 through like 13 games. and all the excitement that the fans had about this new hot prospect is just gone. You're sitting around with your buddies, drinking some moondrops, and you're like, guys, I thought I thought this guy could like hit for power. Like I thought he was going to hit a whole bunch of home runs. And then the well-informed guy who cares way too much about his favorite baseball team's farm system says something along the lines of like, he's capable of hitting home runs. Like if he hits it, like he crushes it. He just doesn't hit it very often. And then you and all your buddies, and you just kind of like sulk and you just think about how disappointing this new prospect is going to be because you're 13 games deep. He's supposed to be this awesome power hitter, and yet he can't hit. This guy's got a lot of tools. This guy has all the tools. Yeah, like he has all the tools, but he's not using them. So that is next on the list of Top 10 Tuesday buzzwords/phrases that get fans excited about a player or team. Two more, I think. Yeah, two more here on the list. He has a lot of upside. This is more of like a fit later down the road kind of thing. People will say this player has a lot of upside when it's a young player on like their second team who didn't quite pan out. For example, let's say that the Pacers trade away Jarris Walker in like 4 years. Okay, like he doesn't wind up developing. 3 years down the road, the Clippers call the Pacers and they're like, "Hey, we want Jarris Walker. We'll give you a second round pick in return." And the Pacers are like, "Okay, that sounds good." And then the Clippers fans will all be like, "I know he didn't pan out in Indiana, but he's got a lot of upsides. Like he's big, he's pretty athletic. Like he was good in college. Like his G League numbers are really good. Like the phrase he has a lot of upside is like one step down from he has potential. Like as of right now, Jarris Walker has potential, but if he doesn't develop into the guy that the Pacers think he's going to, and he ends up playing, for like the Hornets or whoever in a few years, the phrase will no longer be he has a lot of potential. The phrase will be he has a lot of upside. Okay, so that is one that gets thrown out a lot. And then the last one is he has something to prove. I think people fall for this narrative all the time. This is the last one on my Top 10 Tuesday buzzwords/phrases that get fans excited about a player or team. He has something to prove. I am willingly falling for this as we speak. Listeners to the show know I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan. Because of that, I am currently driving the Klay Thompson has something to prove train. Okay, it's my train, and I'm driving it until the tracks are gone. Okay, I'm not getting off of it. It's just another way to get excited about an older player that's changing teams. Okay, like if Klay Thompson hadn't been, as bad as he was these last 2 years, then no one would be talking about a revenge tour. Okay, nobody would be talking about, yeah, he was bad these last 2 years, but he's got something to prove leaving Golden State. Here's the thing. If he was still a great two-way player, the way he was, pre-ACL and Achilles tear or not playing a game for nearly 1,000 days, no one would be talking about him like this. They would just say the Mavericks signed another good player, and then we would all move on. But no. Klay Thompson has something to prove, and that excites people. So that is my Top 10 Tuesday list for buzzwords/phrases that get fans excited about a player or team.